how's it going? I'm Marlena. Thanks for wandering by. So today I have for you a library haul. So I have a bunch of books that I want to talk about. And I went to the library to return books. I frequent the library. I don't purchase a lot of books. I've gotten more into reading like ebooks on my Kindle, but I haven't bought a lot of physical books. I'm a very big fan of the library, and my library has a huge like inter-county loan system, so I can get lots and lots of books. Anyway, I went to the library just a few days ago, and I went to return books, and I really was not planning on getting anything at the library, right? Because I had stuff like that I had set up that I wanted to read. And then, I just like, well, maybe I'll just, wander around, see what's here. And then I came home with, oh my gosh, this. The stack of eight books. I've already read two and a quarter of them. So we're off to a good start. So what I'd like to do today is just tell you about all of these eight books and just like have a little bit of a hangout with me. I've got some iced tea, and we're just gonna talk a little bit about books, which is fun. All right, so first up, let me put my glasses on, get everything situated. And it's gonna be, these are gonna be like reflective, aren't they? Well, I'll try not to, and so are my glasses. Anyway, Eliza Clark Pennant. So if you watched me, oh, maybe that side's better. If you watched me talk about Eliza Clark boy parts in my last book video, then you'll know that I said, oh, maybe I'll get to another Eliza Clark book this year, but I wasn't sure if I would. Well, I saw this on the shelves and I had to get it. This is, it's definitely as dark and disturbing as Boy Parts is. Um, but it follows a completely different kind of storyline. I've read this already and I ate this book up really quickly. It's lots of different mixed media, and it follows the story of these high school girls who have taken part in a ghastly murder. Three girls take part in a ghastly murder of a, oh no, I don't know, I would say, I guess, classmate of theirs. And what it does though is it explores like the true crime kind of community or fascination with true crime, especially surrounding like things to do with young people, teenagers, teen violence. It's so layered. Like you're reading as if it's told from the perspective of a journalist who's doing like an expose on this particular story and is like kind of making their, I don't know, true crime kind of comeback or debut. So it's written from that journalist perspective, but it's like rewritten, like the journalist takes license to rewrite as if it's a narrative. There's text messages, like excerpts, there's excerpts from like blog posts and all kinds of stuff. There is It's written with like, there's sympathy for the perpetrators. There's sympathy, obviously, for the victim of the crime, but there is sympathy for the perpetrators. There's also just like it's not cut and dry and black and white, and it's not as easy to say like life, like in life to say that like this is evil and this is good and this is right and this is wrong. It really explores like the gray area. It's very disturbing, like trigger warnings all over the place for lots and lots of violence. I am a fan though of the way that Eliza Clark writes, because it makes me think very specifically, in a very layered and nuanced way. And I'm glad for that. I can't say that it was like an enjoyable read, but it was like something that I just kind of just really just took in and wanted to, I got through it really quickly. And it was just good thinking. It was a good thought piece. And I will continue to think about this book quite a bit. So yeah, it's Eliza Clark Penance. If you are into that kind of, like nuanced, I mean, it's not so much a thriller because we know who did the murder. Um, but it's just it's really fascinating if you're interested in things that are like taboo and kind of out there and a little bit, like nuanced, and this is up your alley. So I think I think it was a good choice, a good read, and I'm glad I read more Eliza Clark. So then I also picked up Wayward by Amelia Hart. So I was talking about Sirens, that's by Amelia Hart, and I was mistaking this author for somebody else when I discussed this in my video of 25 books to read in 2025. So this book, so Amelia Hart is known for this book Wayward, which I got excited about because this is it's kind of leaning into that like Shakespeare allusions that I was interested in kind of, kind of playing up or reading more of this year, which I mean, you can't like there's Shakespeare allusions, it's like Greek mythology allusions, it's everywhere. So you can't like throw a stick without finding one in Western, in Western culture. So Wayward by Amelia Hart follows three different timelines. Oh, and the allusion is to the Weird sisters from Macbeth, the witches of Macbeth. That's what we're referring to here. And there's Macbeth is mentioned and quoted, and it's a good time. So, but this book is, I mean, I can't say it's a good time. I read it relatively quickly. I really got into it. I don't usually like these multiple point of view across different like timelines books. Like I tend to stay away from that, or I tend to not enjoy that, but I really kind of did like this. It's very empowering. We're following three different characters, one from 1619, one from 1942, and one from, I want to say, 2019, which was current, contemporary when this book came out. And they are all related. um they all are wayward, like wayward sisters, but they are all connected in a very particular way. Magically connected, but also they are connected. They are family. They're and the descendants, right? Or ancestors of each other, one way or the other. Anyway, so we're following one who is on trial for witchcraft. That's the one in 1619, and this takes place in the UK. And then the second one is Violet. So the first one is Alpha, who's on trial for witchcraft. The second timeline is, and it interweaves. Like we don't go one timeline at a time. We kind of cross back and forth between all three. And then the second timeline is Violet, who is a young woman. We follow kind of the course of her life from her teenagehood into adulthood ish. And so she is shortly after yeah, during the First World War, or Second World War, I'm sorry, Second World War. And she is really there's much to do about like her mother, who passed away before or shortly after she was born. She's just very oppressed in her life by her father, and something really terrible happens to her. And it's on page, very, very triggering. And she is sort of kind of cast off by her father. And in the meantime, she doesn't know really who her mother was or what happened to her mother. And there's like a legacy there that she's trying, like legacy and mystery that she's trying to uncover, that is also connected to this older ancestor. And the descendant is, oh, I can't remember the name of the last woman, but she's a young woman who is in a abusive relationship with a man, and she is escaping that relationship, and is has this out because Violet is her great aunt and left her cottage to to the character. Oh, I can't remember her name, but the last character, the modern character, was left this cottage by Violet, and so she ends up there. And there's just, it's just the story of like this unraveling of this history, this legacy, this like sisterhood, witchhood, magic, DNA kind of that permeates through this particular family, and the challenges that these different women face across different times. And it was good. There were things about it that I think were a little bit problematic. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the read. So I think I'm really excited to then read now Sirens by Amelia Hart when it comes out. I believe it comes out in a couple of months, maybe March or April this year. So I like her style of writing. It's not usually something that I'm into, but so like I kind of like that I'm kind of stretching my span, my breadth of different genres and things that I'm reading. So let me see. Oh, so this is the book that I'm currently reading, and this is called Dirty Diana by Jen Besser and Shanna Fest. Oh, I didn't realize that this is two authors. I just noticed that this is written by two authors. So this is a novel. So far it's about a woman who is in a marriage. She's been married for several years, 15 or so years, something like that, 10 to 15 years. A woman named Diana who is like unsatisfied, like sexually unsatisfied in her relationship with her husband, and she begins fantasizing about a previous relationship that she used to have. That's what I know about it so far. And so far it's pretty like it's spicy. It's a bit spicy, and this is, I believe, a debut novel by these two authors. It's a little bit spicy. I'm on the fence because I feel like it might be a little bit too like cliche and tropey that a woman has been married for a while and she's unsatisfied in her current relationship and is like seeking, to, I don't know, to find something else or spice up her life or whatever. I don't know. I just feel like, and so far her husband is like such a like sweet nice guy that like I'm like, ugh, I don't know if I want to read about this woman like cheating on her like really sweet nice husband, instead of just like being, like brave enough to like tell him what is going on. But there's an interesting plot device going on here because she has these tapes of interviews of women that she's interviewed who talk about like their sexual escapades from their past. And so it's kind of spicy. It's like, it's kind of interesting. And I just kind of want to see what happens. It doesn't explicitly like say that she's going to like, cheat on her husband or whatever, but it's, I don't know. I mean, it could be introspective, like how, how things change in a relationship over the years. I'm curious about it. We'll see if I, if it keeps my interest for much longer. Let me see. I'm probably like about 50 some odd pages in. So not, not that far into the novel yet. So those are the ones that I've read and am reading. And then out of the rest, so let me show you what else I got. So I'll have to just talk about what I sort of know about these books already. So this is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Sorry, I cover the top. So Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This is I mean it's a romance, but it's vampires and werewolves, and like, who doesn't love vampires and werewolves? So it says a vampire bride and an alpha werewolf form a dangerous alliance in this enthralling new paranormal romance. Misery Lark, daughter of a powerful vampire councilman, is an outcast. Her days of living anonymously among the humans are over. She has been called upon to uphold an alliance between the vampires and their mortal enemies, the Wares. Okay. Wares are ruthless and unpredictable, and their alpha, Low Moreland, is no exception. He rules his pack with absolute authority, but not without justice or feeling. It's clear from the way he tracks Misery's every movement that he doesn't trust her. If only he knew how right he was. Okay. So I think like it's going to be this, vampire werewolf romance. I am down to read a paranormal fantasy kind of romance novel. It's, I've been attempting to, like I was talking about wanting to read Emily Henry, Ali Hazelwood. Who are these other? There's a bunch of these other like contemporary modern romance authors that I want to attempt to give a try to, and I'm going to try this one. We'll see. Like romance is not usually my go-to genre, but I want to see. I've heard good things about Ali Hazelwood, and I love, vampires and werewolves, so we'll try that one. Okay, then I have a book called The Bog Wife by oh my gosh, K Chronister. K Chronister. So I had heard lots about this all over the tubes. This is going to be too shiny for me to hold up for too long. I heard about this book all over the tubes last year in 2024, and this one follows, it's like so I'll just read a little bit of the blurb. In this atmospheric Appalachian Gothic, the Hadley siblings of West Virginia unearth long buried secrets when the supernatural bargain entwining their fate with their ancestral land is suddenly ruptured. So from what I understand, so this is set in Appalachia. I'm not sure what time period we're talking about, but it's set in Appalachia, and this family has this sort of like bargain with the land that that they sacrifice something to the bog, or the bog gives them a new matriarch of their family when one has passed. I believe that's what it is. It sounds really weird. It sounds very bizarre. I kind of, yeah, I heard good things about it, and when I saw it on the shelves at the library, I thought, maybe I'll try this out because I don't know, Appalachia, a like person emerging from the bog. Um, it sounds creepy. It sounds super creepy. It just made me think of Swamp Thing, for those of you that are old enough to know about Swamp Thing. Yeah. So it seems, I don't know, kind of interesting. I don't know if I'm going to, like, how long I'll last with this one. It's fairly long. Let's see. How long is this one? Because that Ali Hazelwood seems kind of long too. But I'm not afraid of a long book. So a little over 300 pages. Hmm, We'll see. We'll see when I get to that. Okay. Then I also saw this book on the shelves, Private Rights by Julia Armfeld. So I read another book by Julia Armfeld, Our Wives Under the Sea, and that book, I had issue with that book because I felt like it was so close to doing what I wanted it to do with like the metaphor that I felt like it revolved around about grief and about losing someone, and what that's like to slowly like lose someone, like over a period of time. And I believe that this book is also to do with death and dying and grieving, and I'm curious to read it because I'm hoping that this author has kind of is able to like do the thing that I was hoping that she had done, that she would have done in the last book. Like it was almost there, like the connection, like the connection almost fired, for me across the neurons, I guess. It almost like I almost had it, you know. But anyway, I'll read a little bit of the blurb so that you have an idea of what this one is about. So, Our Wives Under the Sea was the one that I read previously. This is Private Rights. So it says, it's been raining for a long time now, so long that the land has reshaped itself and old rituals and religions are creeping back into practice. So that's kind of like this is very similar, I think, maybe to then the Bog Wife. In some way. Sisters Isla, Irene, and Agnes have not spoken in some time when their father, an architect as cruel as he was revered, dies. His death offers an opportunity for the sisters to come together in a new way in the grand glass house they grew up in, their father's most famous creation. The sisters sort through the secrets and memories he left behind until their fragile bond is shattered by a revelation in his will. Okay, I'll stop there. So I feel like maybe this one might be a little bit more straightforward and less because Our Wives Under the Sea read like a sci-fi kind of horror, sci-fi horror. This feels a little bit more straightforward of like contemporary fiction of sisters, estranged sisters dealing with the death of their father and having to come together. Secrets are revealed. I guess we'll see. We'll see how I do with that one. I did really enjoy Julia Armfeld's writing. She's very poetic, very beautiful writer. So, this next book I feel like is similar. It has a similar kind of story as well. So I might be oversaturated with these kinds of things. But this book I saw on the shelves, Blue Sisters by Coco Malors, is another book that I saw all over the tubes booktube last year, and I've heard really good things about it. I believe though that these are sisters that are coming together with the death of another sister. So yeah, three estranged sisters return to their family home in New York after their beloved fourth sister's death in this unforgettable story of grief, hope, and the complexities of families, from the author of Cleopatra and Frankenstein. So another like book that revolves around grief, and I believe we have multiple POVs. I'm not sure. I've heard I've heard really good things about this. I've heard things people that really didn't enjoy this novel as well. I'm curious. I'm just curious to read something by Coco Malors. I feel like I've seen this cover like all over the place. So when it was there um at the library, I grabbed it. I scooped it up. All right, and then this is the last one, and it has, oh my gosh, this has a quote from Gabrielle Zevin, who's the author of Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which I haven't yet read, but they apparently like this book. And this is called The Husbands by Holly Gramazio. The Husbands by Holly Gramazio. And so this is a little bit of a magical realism, I think, is the genre here. So oops, my goodness. Let me see. So let's see. I said that like 8 times. When Lauren returns home to her flat in London late one night, she is greeted at the door by her husband, Michael. There's only one problem: she's not married. But according to her friends, her much improved decor and the photos on her phone, oh wait, sorry. But according to her friends, her much improved decor and the photos on her phone, they've been together for years. As Lauren tries to puzzle out how she could be married to someone she can't remember meeting, Michael goes to the attic to change a light bulb and abruptly disappears. In his place, a new man emerges and a new, slightly altered life reforms around her. Okay, so it's magical realism with like husbands just coming out of the attic. Husband after husband coming out of the attic. It's curious. It sounds like an interesting premise. I think I heard about it on BookTube from somebody, I can't remember who, but I think from somebody that I kind of align with their taste. So this seems I don't know, kind of interesting. So we have themes of magical realism with relationships, marriage relationships, grief, and estranged, siblings. We also have a little bit of magical, I don't know if it's magical realism or really just, fantasy, science fiction, sort of, maybe horror. I think this might fall under horror. But there's also grief and loss, kind of, and family, themes going on here in The Bog Wife. We have just a straight up romance, but it's a fantasy romance with Bride by Ali Hazelwood. And then we had another kind of romance, but more like kind of introspective relationship type, but spicy. And then we had, a historical fantasy, really, and a, I don't know what you call this. I guess this is literary fiction, but it's mixed media and, really it's really like a kind of a commentary on true crime and violence, as well as female violence, teenage violence, that kind of thing. So that was everything forwards and backwards. So that's it. That is my, 8 books that I got from the library. I hope that you enjoyed this library haul. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I hope that you enjoyed that, and I hope that you all have a beautiful, wonderful day. Bye.